everyone, my name is Afreen Rahman, and today we bring episode number 3 for our product management interview series questions, where we are talking about preparing for product management interviews. And we have with us, yet again, our expert Kanjan Desai, who's a product manager at PayPal. Well, welcome Kanjan to the show. And just to give her introduction, well, she's here in person to do that. Kanjan, firstly, just can we get a very, very quick intro about you in just a very crisp format?
Sure. So currently I'm working at PayPal. I'm a senior product manager here. I am in the pricing team. And prior to this, I was again in a fintech company, Razorpay, where again I was working in the neobanking space. And then before that, I did my sort of like an MBA from ISB. And then before that, I worked for around 3 years with with Bain and Vodafone Idea. So it's been a very sort of varied kind of an experience. And the last 2.5-ish years where I've been into product have been super enriching from a learning standpoint as well as execution standpoint. So I'd love to talk more about that.
Yes, and today again the new topic is, what are the 3 mistakes that one should avoid while preparing for product manager interviews, right? So Kanjan, let's dive deep into the topic right away. What are those mistakes that I should avoid to get a call from Google? Please tell me.
So getting a call from Google is that's a very different thing, which is basically dependent on your resume. But I think I'll be focusing on the interview part. So the usual, the majority breadth or the majority portion of the product management interview questions will be the cases that one has to solve. And this is from my experience of studying a lot of different companies' interview processes, right? So if a case comes up, the people who are already product managers have a lot of pressure to showcase their expertise or so-called their finesse in solving it. So the number one mistake that they do and the newcomers also do is that they directly just take up the question and they're like, let me ask a few questions, and then they ask some 1 or 2 additional data pointers, and they immediately jump into the solution, right? And I've been guilty of doing the same. I've lost some great roles because of this, and in my beginning of my career. So I can vouch for the fact that this is a suicide point, right? So first, try to quickly break down the problem that's given to you into different keywords and into different blocks of items that are being conveyed, right? So for example, if you're being asked to create a loan app for teenagers, try to see, okay, loan, let me talk about different points circling loans. What is important in loans? What are the key metrics? What are the revenue aspects, and how does the model work? Then app. So the second thing you should be discussing about is what is this app? Why do we need an app? What is the current model? What is the current structure, current customer landscape, etc. Then teenagers. So you talk about the teenagers persona. What are the different personas in teenagers? What are their problem areas? What are the features that would help them? And then you collate all of this and then you go into the solution. So I think, and this is just a very hypothetical example, but basically first mistake to avoid is to go to solution right away, thinking that you have already asked 2-3 questions. Let me start solving for it. Understand the why of that question, that problem, that area, that bucket, right? Moving to the next mistake is, I think, not sticking to your structure. So when you have already understood the problem, and usually the practice we have is to convey or communicate the structure that we are going to follow. So what happens is you have this long structure which you think is the perfect template, but as you go into the interview, as you move forward with your talking points, sometimes you blank out on certain topics because you have not thought about what will go in that, right? So you blank out, you tend to skip out, and then you try to speed up the process because your time is running out. You just have 1 hour. So out of the 1 hour that you have, you essentially have 35 golden minutes to actually do your case or to actually do any kind of walkthrough. So usually what candidates do is that they cover the first part of the question really well, and then they jump through all the other parts. So the real problem's answer never comes up. And they're like, we are tight on time. So unfortunately you can't cover it. So that's the second part, is stick to your structure and make the structure more realistic to follow in 35, 40, 45 minutes, whatever is the time limit. And then the third one is to make sure that you are not making it a monologue, right? So it's not an extempore where you're given a topic and you keep speaking about it, right? So it has to be a conversation. It has to be a logical back and forth between you and the interviewer, and there are certain assumptions that you'll be making along the way. So be cognizant of calling them out, be cognizant of getting them checked with the interviewer, what are they expecting. More often than not, when you make it a conversation, they help you out going in the right direction. And at least I have taken and given so many interviews in my life, and there has not been a single interview in which the person doesn't like me having a conversation, right? Or judges me otherwise. So that's the third mistake to avoid, is to don't make it a monologue. Don't make it like just a thing to do and just to talk about and seem like an expert. I think all you have to seem like is a product manager who thinks about the problem and who is able to organize the thoughts and give out a logical, feasible solution. That's all. We are not looking for extraordinary.
Yeah, you're not looking for a solution right away. You're just looking at the thought process. I think that's the point most of the people miss. That how are you going to derive? It's the journey that you want to actually, I think, articulate what is happening in the interview, rather than just focusing on the solution that you're giving. Well, excellent pointers here. Just a very, very quick recap I'm giving is the number one mistake that you pointed out was that, directly jumping to solution part of it, right? Not asking the right questions, or, picking out the pointers through which you will derive the solution. So jumping on the conclusion or the solution is the first problem. Second mistake is, you have to stick, not mistake, but rather you'll have to stick to your structure and make it seem realistic, right? And the third is not to make the entire interview a monologue, right? It has to be a discussion, right? So I think excellent pointers and this will certainly help everyone who's looking to transition or go ahead for that interview. Thank you so much, Kanjan, for giving us these insightful pointers. This surely, I think, like I said, once I interview for Google, it will come handy for me. Thank you so much for being part of this episode, Kanjan. Lovely to have you back.
Same here. Thank you.